Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Fryderykraft. In the last episode, we did some amazing work and completed this building behind me, the City Hall, for our 5-year anniversary. And as you can see, the square is still decorated and all festive for the occasion, with vendors selling miscellaneous items and tents set up. But unfortunately, party time is over, so we must first return the city back to how it normally is. Do not worry though, because it will not be boring forever, because we do have Halloween and Christmas, and next year we'll probably have an even bigger celebration for the anniversary. So first, we will be turning the square back to normal. And now we have our square, with its decorations taken down, stored away for next year. We can get into the main part of the video. So what are we doing? If you guessed building more buildings in the city, you would be correct. But first, we are going to be finishing this arcade, as it has stayed like this for much too long, and I think it is unacceptable. And now we have a nice walkway covered with shade for all the pedestrians to go through. I do not know why this took this long. This building was built over 2 years ago. Still not building the interior though, but it makes the square a little bit more complete, and now we have little windows to look inside. This will probably become a hotel room sometime within the next decade. But it's now time for the main part of the episode. So, what are we doing? We're building more of the city. So, one of the things I'd like to do is we don't really have a planning area in the city. Like, we have this building over here, the Atlas House, where if we go inside, once we head upstairs, you can see that we do have this big map over here, and we do have other maps, such as the map of the city right here. Yes, this is what the city looks like. Oh, the decorations are still there. Anyway, what I would like to do is build a building to house offices that will be the place where the planners of the city will work, and all the urban design decisions will be made there. I have picked out a parcel of land, which is right here. As you can see, it is not a very wide building, but we will have a lot of floor space if we make it a taller building, similar to this one. I do not know if it will be nearly as tall as this one, but it will probably be taller than this one, and it will house some offices for us to do our work. I plan for it to be made out of stripped oak to have that sort of more yellowy sandstone look, and have an arched window, and will be pretty tall with some columns going up. There might be a dome at the top, but that was still a decision that I have not made yet. So it's now time for me to get to building, and I will return once this building has been constructed. And here is our new government office building, looking very nice with its dome and very skinny, utilizing the land very well. And I am going to do something that is very rare for me, and actually do the inside of this building. So I do want to make this building usable. I do not think that I will be making the entirety of the interior, as it is rather large, but I will do a good portion of it and at least get some offices in there for me to use. So I will get to building the inside of our building now. And here is our new government office building. As you can see, we have it labeled here. I did change the door up a little bit, but if we go in, we are greeted with this sort of reception area on the ground floor, where you could see the offices we have. We have the Urban Planning Commission and a public property agency. So going up the stairs, we have our Urban Planning Commission, where city planners will meet together. We have some maps and some chairs for us to discuss about plans of expanding the city. Have some maps, so if there's ever a need for me to visually explain a plan for the city, this is what this place is for. Have a nice map of the city. Here's the square, here's the old town, and the area we are in right now. We are right there. I do not know how well the average viewer knows about the layout of the city, so maybe one day I can do a tour so you guys have a better understanding on where things are located. Going up further, we have the Public Property Agency, which is probably just going to be a desk and a chair. This is where people will go if they wish to buy some property owned by the Ericton government, perhaps an empty property to build a building, or an already built building that hasn't had any sort of use yet. But this will probably be one of the rooms, which will be a sort of base of operations, as I can very easily describe what we are doing, especially with locations. But it is now time for us to move to our next building project of the episode. So, after a short walk to the construction site, here we are. As you can see, we have some tourists here marveling at our bureaucratic offices in Ericton. So what we are doing is we are building a building on the corner of these two streets right here. It will be another tall building for the city. Maybe not as tall as our first skyscraper here, but maybe we'll reach to around there. It will be a sort of either offices or apartments on the top floor with dirt as the main block, as I like to use dirt as brown bricks. And the bottom floor will probably be some sort of shops or retail or some form of restaurant, but that is the plan for our building. It will have a nice mansard roof, just like our first skyscraper, and I think it will be a nice addition to the city, making this area feel more of a central area instead of an outskirt, as that's what it seems like now. So I will get to building and come back when it is complete. And with this building complete, we have another skyscraper built in our city, though I do not know if this would be considered a skyscraper, as it is only around 65 blocks tall, which wouldn't fit modern standards, but it is pretty tall and adds a nice little bit of verticality and density to the city. I actually really like using dirt as a building block, as it is a very nice brown color that really doesn't exist with any of the other blocks. Maybe you can get there with maybe mud, but it is a very unique color and I like to use it a lot. So there is our building, looking very nice. You got some retail space on the ground floor, could possibly be a restaurant, and the rest of the building would probably either suit as apartments or possibly a hotel. If we get a little bit of distance, you'll be able to see our nice, lovely mansard roof on top of our building, which pairs well with the building next to it, two twin towers in the city. Anyways, we have another building on this street right here, making a very nice frame for that building up ahead. But it is now time for us to move on to the next part of the episode. Next on my plans for building in this episode, we will be going through our gate right here, where we get onto the Island of Glessing over here. We have a new building over here that was built by me with the help of Manchester City, so shout out to Manchester City for helping me construct this lovely building on the island. But the next thing we will be doing is this area right here. I have planned out to be some brick row houses that will be using our brown bricks made out of dirt right there. These will be some nice, a little bit more old, more like Georgian style row houses over here, which will be around the same height as all the other buildings in the city, around 4 tiers, and will look very nice. So I will get to building and come back when this is complete. And here we have our Georgian tenements built. It has started to rain a little bit, but I will still show you our new housing stock that we have for our factory workers to live in. So this was a pretty simple build, as I was able to just make one building and just copy it 2 times over to make 3 of the same building, but I think it turned out rather nicely, even though it is a little bit repetitive. So here we have a nice brown brick building for lower income city dwellers to live in. This can probably house around maybe 200 factory workers if we utilize it to the maximum. I will go ahead and fill in the street right there just so we have it done. Just like that, and we even have this thin alleyway right here next to where the future train line will go, where absolutely 0 crimes will happen. That is, if the train line ever gets built. You know how long it takes things to build around here. In fact, I even had an idea that the train station might even be a terminus station, so it might not even go underground right there. But anyway, moving on to the next area for this video, we'll be going over here into the other side from the small island onto the bigger island, where a couple episodes ago we did do some work over here near the tip of the island where we built these 2 buildings and built out this street right here. So what I want to do today is to finally build all the way to the tip of the island. So over there, all from over here to around where the island ends, I would like to finally fill this all in and build out our waterfront. So I have laid out an outline on where the waterfront will be. As you can see, it sort of wraps around the general shape of the island. There will be some sort of ramp down there so that you can access the ocean with like a boat or something, get back onto the land easy, and there is a marked block right there, which we will get into after we have filled this in. We now have the tip of our island built over, where we finally have the last little bit of the northern part of Old Town that we need to fill in before we can build some buildings. So in the future, I plan for there to be a square over here in front of the old city hall overlooking the ocean, and maybe one building around here with I hope to build some kind of tower so we get a nice view of the eventual CBD that will be over there with lots of tall buildings to create a wonderful skyline. And as I said before, I will explain about this right here. So originally, on the first day of the server, I broke a wooden log from an oak tree and placed it on the tip of the island right there, and that has become the first wood of the server, or I guess the first block broken of the server, which is a very important site. So I decided to commemorate that block to have this column right here. As also, I have put the outline of the old banks of the island. By the way, the log still exists, it just wasn't there for a long time due to threats of being stolen, so it is still existing, safe, and locked away, never to be seen again, unless you are the museum operator. It's like how in the British Museum, only, there's millions of artifacts that never get to be seen because they're just locked away in the back rooms of the museum. Backrooms reference? But yeah, so someday we'll build a museum and eventually have the log out on display, but now is not the time for that. But what it is time for is time to end the episode. So I thank all of you for watching this episode. If you have made it this far, be sure to hit the like button and leave a comment to show your appreciation of my lovely buildings, and I will see you in the next episode. Farewell, everyone.